So that shiny new game just came out, Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn, and you want to know if it's worth your time, right? Well, let's take a look at the game for some first impressions. Keep in mind this is not a full review, this is a quick look at the game. I played the game for about 2 hours, so I'll show some footage of the game while describing it and giving a few thoughts on it. I played this on Game Pass for PC, and I did have some stuttering here and there. Overall, it was playable though. To start the game, you choose one of 3 difficulties: Story, Normal, and Possessed. I went with Normal, and then a cutscene happens. There was a plan to blow up a door and to cut the dead off forever. Baz said that in a letter to the main character, Nor. They have some sort of close relationship, but I'm unsure what exactly that is. After that scene, now there's a scene at a fort or a castle with soldiers running around and the dead are attacking. This area is very linear, it's just to get used to the controls. Nor is something called a sapper, but I don't know the meaning of that as of right now. She convinces the general to let her go after Baz, and now you get to play the game. At the end of this, you'll face the guardian of the door, which then defeats you. Then you'll wake up to a god named Enki. He becomes your companion and you learn some skills from him. He tells you that Uru the Ravager, which is another god, is loose, so Enki teams up with you to defeat him. You can now double jump in the air and dodge. You can run, dodge, jump, block and parry, and you have an axe and flintlock to begin. You have 3 charges with your flintlock though, but you can get more by meleeing enemies with your axe. You also have health that you can take, but it's limited. To begin with, I had 1, but over time you'll get more. Additionally, you can find new weapons and armor, and you can upgrade your weapons as well. So far, I've only been able to upgrade them at a fire with Baz, a fellow sapper. I found an axe that did less damage, but it inflicted fire damage over time. I stuck with that axe as I thought the fire was pretty good. I also got a musket later on that also has 3 shots, and you have to reload it manually each time. It's good for a long distance. Right before I got off, I also got some bombs to throw and use, but I didn't have a need for them yet, so I never used them. When it comes to the god on your side, Enki, you can also use him in battle. In the skill tree, you have 3 upgrade paths: axe, firearms, and magic. Upgrading the magic will give more abilities that Enki can do. Honestly, all 3 upgrade paths are pretty useful in this game, and I was doing all 3 of them. All of your ammo and health flasks will be restored once you rest, but all enemies will also respawn. All of the enemies will also respawn whenever you die. There's multiple places that you can rest: campfires, lodestones, and coffee shops. All of these locations you can open up your inventory and skills page, but you can also do that just on your own anyways, so it's kind of useless to do it there. It's only useful for resting really. Lodestones though, that's where you'll respawn when you die, whatever the last lodestone you were at. Also when you die, you'll drop your reputation points, but you can go back to where you died and pick them up. Reputation points are used to purchase items such as different clothing items, which I found you could buy at coffee shops from the weird creature with no head. They're also used to purchase skills and upgrade your weapons, so it's pretty useful to have. You get reputation points for doing missions, killing enemies, or playing Sebo games against people. That is a little mini game where you have limited amount of turns to get 3 of your coins in a triangle. After you do that, you have to defend. It's actually pretty fun. I played that twice. You can find other coins throughout the world that have effects that you can use while playing too. The world is kinda open. I mean, there's different areas to go, but overall it's mostly just paths to follow. There's a little bit of exploration to be had and items to be found as well. I just followed the main quest for the most part though. There's various enemies to fight, and some are easier than others, and with your limited amount of ammunition and health, it can get tough here and there. Some enemies have armor, some have sword and shields, and some have muskets and so on. One thing I just remembered about the musket though is that when I got a headshot that kills an enemy, it does a little kill cam following the bullet, which I really didn't expect in this kind of game. It reminded me of the Sniper Elite games. The storyline in this game is something I don't fully understand, and I don't have a clear grasp on the world or what's happening as of now as a whole. Maybe that'll all be explained later on though. Overall, I'd say this game is interesting at the least. This game markets itself as a Souls-light, which makes sense with how it plays. The story is meh so far to me. I haven't really been that hooked on it, but the gameplay is alright. I'm not super into this game, but at the same time, it doesn't do anything to make me really dislike it either. The gameplay loop of fighting and using all of your weapons and abilities is pretty good, which is why I'd probably call it above average. I like it for the most part, though that's my personal opinion. Whether or not this is your type of game, I'll see you on the next one.